What's up, everybody? Spot of Nerd here with a very unique episode that I'm going to give you a fair warning right here and now. This is a politics episode. Just getting out of the gate, if you do not want to watch or even simply give two shits to care about what we're going to discuss, because I'm pretty confident you can figure out what side I'm on. I'm just wanting to get that out there and save you the trouble. But if you at the same time would love to hear what I have to say, because I think it's very, very important, specifically for myself, for this channel, for the whole 9 yards, as we metaphorically have spoken before many times in the past, as a broken record from yours truly, Spot of Nerd. I think it's super duper awesome, and I think it's super duper great what we will be discussing in this episode. So I encourage you to stick around as we talk about what I'm gonna call aftermath. So, November 5th, 2024. It will go down in history as one of the greatest events in modern American history. As we all know now, President Donald J. Trump will be America's 47th president. It is the greatest middle finger, metaphorically speaking, that the American people have given to the powers that be, to the elites, to the political regimes, to everything in between. And what I'm really getting at in this episode is simply talking about realistically what's come since. And really what has come since has been everything that we've been saying for the past decade. Now, I could sit here and I could share you articles, I could show you statistics, I could show you data, this and that, and blah, 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 blah. And yes, for anybody that is curious, I am going to be careful because I do still have a job that I would like to keep and maintain those benefits, etc. But at the same time, November 5th was a day that basically finally gave those of us, specifically people like me, the ability to go, it's about damn time. And I'm pretty sure you know where I'm going with that, because we have been berated, we have been physically assaulted, we have had death threats, we have everything that you can imagine from a level of hate that I never thought I would ever experience in my entire life thrown upon us simply because we actually respect, we wanted, and we got the man that truly has flipped society completely 180 degrees. Again, I don't need to go down that road of what he's done or what he's going to do. The man has done in 20 days of being elected. He's done more in those 20 days than this current administration has done in 4 years. Quite frankly, you might even say the last 2 decades alone. There is peace in the Middle East. People are obviously more excited. Stock markets are going up, jobs, so on and so forth. He hasn't even gotten into office yet. You can imagine what he will bring to the table. Obviously, some people don't like him, flat out hate him. Quite frankly, some people wish him dead. They've actually tried it multiple times. So it's quite interesting now with the actual official announcement that he will be the 47th president of these United States. It is quite telling, to say the least, of what we have experienced in the American society as a whole since then, since November 5th. And I just want to, I kind of want to just get this out in relation to, this is going to be likely a very short episode compared to what I normally do, but it means a lot to me and it means a lot to this channel in relation to the fact that, as I've mentioned many times before, I've never been quiet about my support for Trump. I've never been quiet about how I genuinely have wanted him to be the next president, how 2020 was complete and absolute BS. And it's ironic that if things were legit, you'd only have to spend another 2 months with him and you wouldn't have to ever worry about him again. But because of 2020, you're going to have to deal with him for another 4 years. So with all that said, in relation to the channel, it just means that I'm not going to sugarcoat away from it anymore. Pretty sure you can get a picture of what we're talking about here. This channel is about reviews. This channel is about life. This channel is about politics. So you might be wondering, what the fuck is he even talking about? What I'm talking about is November 5th allowed the majority, which we now have actual data, actual proof. It allowed people like me to finally speak out, and you finally listened. You might not like it. You might actually hate it. You might despise it. You might wish death on us. You might assume everything in between, every ism, blah, 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 agates, blah, 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 whatever the words are. But at the end of the day, you cannot deny that what happened November 5th, 2024 was defining in relation to the American people are fed up with the bullshit, with the lies, with the tyranny, with the powers that be, as I mentioned before, broken record. And it is a time that we all now come together. And I do genuinely mean that. I've said that many, many times before on this channel when we're talking about things like this. Now is that time that we come together, because obviously when we talk about reviews, television, movies, etc., that also incorporates the Hollywood aspects. Pretty much, as we all know, if you are a subscriber to this channel, which PS I would super duper appreciate if you have not already. I would love you forever if you would go ahead, hit that subscribe button right down below, give me the thumbs up, comment, tell me your thoughts. This one will be interesting if you would care to share your thoughts, if you're, you know, different and maybe not on the same page as I am. But either way, I'm open to it. Just if you can be respectful, I'd appreciate it. But what I'm getting at is, again, Hollywood. The only reason Hollywood still exists today is because of all the treacherous, treasonous elites, creepy-ass, Epstein, Diddy Party-esque type behavior. That's facts. It's not a case of myth or conspiracy theory, if, ands, or buts. It's just fact at this point. You cannot continuously produce a level of bullshit that Hollywood has, regardless of the studio. Disney, Marvel, Paramount, Universal, so on and so forth. You cannot produce this level of shit in relation to your movies and television. And not all, and let's be real, not everything, just the majority, and survive. No business in modern history globally on this planet of Earth has any business ever survived this level of loss in relation to finances and everything else in between, from fandoms to fans to the public. You cannot do this terribly and still survive. Thus goes back to everything we're discussing and everything we pretty much already know, that there is a level of corruption that exists in Hollywood, that exists in the government, that exists everywhere, that finally on November 5th, 2024, the American people said, it's done. Fuck this shit. We're over it. Quite frankly, I don't know why it took this long, but that's for another time. That's for another day. We'll get to that maybe one day, but go with me on this. Just hear me out. So what does that all mean? It means the aftermath. It means you're going to get a better life. It means we're going to hopefully turn things around enough to where we start to get real better shit. Movies, television, life, money, jobs, economy, safety, peace in the world, so on and so forth, X, Y, and Z. All because one man decided, you know what? I'm going to do something about it. And this is going to sound completely tangent, but I promise I'll regroup this. I always used to believe one person could not change the world, until I learned of Steve Irwin. Everybody knows, see if I can show it on no, that's the wrong arm. Right there. Crocodile Hunter. Steve Irwin, the Crocodile Hunter. When I must have been less than 10, I don't know, years old when I first learned about who he was. He was able to literally change this world and made the entire world care about wildlife conservation. He is proof that one man can change the world in a positive direction. Trump is no different, if you ask me. But the bottom line is, what's happening now are the evils that be, which we all know to be the media. The media is Satan. The media is the devil in disguise. And quite frankly, just looking at the aftermath of what has been since his election, since his win, pretty much has defined exactly just how evil this media is. Whether it's rights that somehow are being taken away that aren't being taken away, it's the fact that people are joining certain movements where they will literally not give you the light of day, which is absolutely no different than any other day if you live in a blue city. But my personal favorite, and again I'm being a little sarcastic here, is the pardoning of a son that is basically a convicted felon, if not more, Because sure, you can tell my guy, Trump, that yes, he is a felon and a criminal, but literally by the time he actually becomes the 47th president, every single one of those bullshit cases will either have been dismissed or thrown out. Thus, is he still a criminal, or was it simply just political interference, election interference? Because again, it's a road we can go down if you want to, but quite frankly, that would take hours. Like I said in the beginning of this video, I could have just showed you clips of all the bullshit you've been basically fed over the last 4 years. That would take years because it's been nothing but bullshit and lies. But we'll just leave it at that. Getting back on track. Like I said, with the Crocodile Hunter, one man can change the world. Trump can literally change the world for the better. Look at, we actually have, and I know this is a broken record moment if you are familiar with the channel, if you watch this channel, blah, 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 blah. You have definitive proof that what he can do is make the world a better place. Financially, safety, peace, the whole 9 yards. You had 8 years of Obama. You had 4 years, 3.5, 4 years of Trump. You recently had 4 years of Biden. And now you're gonna get another 4 years of Trump. But what I'm getting at is those 8 years of Obama, 4 years of Trump, 4 years of Biden. There is stark contrast between how your life is and how your life was, pertaining of course to today's standard. You can barely, I mean, I don't know about y'all, but I can barely get out of Target without spending $100 now. 4 years ago, I could spend $20 and live off that shit for a week. You cannot, I've said this again, I know I'm a broken record when I say this bazillion times. You cannot tell me that that is something you do not want. Do you not want to live better, cheaper, better, safer, cleaner, less criminals, less illegals? You cannot tell me that. All this crazy, and like, oh my God, I'm gonna lose this right and that right. It doesn't exist. So what are you actually fighting for? What are you fighting against? You're fighting against the fact that you're gonna live a better life, that your neighbor, your family, and everything in between is gonna live a better and enjoyable life? I don't understand this. I really, to this day, and I think I speak for millions of people who are just like me, we don't understand where you're coming from, because everything that you're saying, I'm gonna leave the country, some of you do, blah, 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 blah. Why? That's the greatest question that will ever be asked in relation to the other side. And let's be honest, there are sides. Let's not sugarcoat this. I would love if we all could come together and talk, but some of us haven't gotten to that point yet where we can. I really do feel, and I'll wrap this episode up because this is my final thought, and I promise you I'll keep it short. This right now, this moment in history, in American history, where the majority of this country has elected a man, a businessman, who is not a politician. I mean, sure he is now, but just go with me on this. You cannot tell me that right now there are more people, the majority of people in this country right now, that want to get back on track. They want to come together and they want to make everybody's life better. They want to make your life better. They want to make my life better. They want to make your life safer. They want to make my life safer. Everybody that is opposed to that, I ask you one simple question that everybody else like me would love to know the answer to. Why? Why are you doing that? Why do you believe that you're going to have rights taken away, that those rights, they're not being taken away? Why do you want to spend more money? Why do you want to feel less safe? Why do you want children to be exposed to things that children should not be exposed to? Why? It's a very simple question if you ask me, and I'll leave you with that, because honestly, that is what this is all about. Since the November election, since 2024, November 5th, why are those that are opposing this change, this transition to a new administration, why are you opposed to it? When you now know for a fact, it is staring you in the face that your life was better under Donald J. Trump than it ever has been under the usual suspects. And the usual suspects being the typical government, the typical elites. We don't have faith in our ways of life. We don't have faith in our justice systems. We don't have faith in our anything. And quite frankly, Trump has shown regularly, if that's regularly, he has shown us per his entire administration that change can happen. He can drain the corruption. He can drain the treason. He can actually make a difference for the better. And he can do it whether you're with him or you're against him. And that's ultimately what this is all about. Sure, there's left and there's right. But what if just for one moment, one tiny moment, you simply came and you spoke to people like me and you had a conversation with us to try to understand where we're coming from. Because like I've said many times, and I'll leave this with y'all, I'll leave y'all with this. I live in a blue area, a deep blue area. I'm pretty confident that most of you, hopefully, if not all of you, don't believe anything about what you would expect somebody who wears this hat to be. Many people that I know are some of the greatest friends I've ever had that are a part of the LGBT community. There are people that I know that I'm really great friends with who actually deeply care and support me. But I wear that, and I'm not afraid to wear this. I'm not afraid to wear this anymore. So the understanding that why can't we come together and make things better for everybody? I would hope that just once that we can all simply look into the future, and I hope we can say, you know what? Let's do it. Let's come together. Let's make it better. And let's see, you know what? Let's just see what happens. Because quite frankly, it can't be any worse than what this shit already has been. Come on, think about it. Am I right? With all of that said, if it made any sense whatsoever, if you got this far, I actually really appreciate it. I really do. Quite frankly, I had a few notes written down. I didn't really know what I was going to say in this episode, but I am glad I did. I really am, because I think it needed to be said. And I just felt like this was necessary. I thought this was something that needed to be said, and I hope that maybe this will just be something that gets the ball rolling in conversations. It doesn't matter if it's one of you or 100 of you. I'd love to just, let's talk about it. Let's talk about ideas. Let's talk about what we're all about. And you know what? If you're the complete opposite, hey, tell me about it. Tell me about who you are. I'd love to get to know you, because like I've said before, let's do a collab on this channel, on your channel. Let's talk. It's really that simple. Let's just have a conversation. But until then, until we get going on this next episode, I will see you guys in the next episode. Laters, y'all. Okay, one thing I do have to just get it out. It is a little bit of kind of a, we told you. So this whole pardoning of Hunter, yeah, pretty much if Trump pardons all the January 6 people, just have to say, y'all, you don't really have a lot on that, because I mean, if you don't understand the reasoning behind that, you should look it up. You really should, because the fact that Biden has pardoned his son since 2014, that's got nothing on January 6th. So